This video is sponsored by Patchworks, Seattle's synthesizer store. Hello everybody, my name is Jeremy, and this is Red Beans Recording, the only YouTube synth channel where you can watch a white guy with a beard swing his disembodied hands around while he makes bleep bloop sounds. Today we are looking at a rather special module that I have been enjoying quite a bunch called the Norand Morphos. Some of you may be familiar with Norand's other offering, a standalone 2-oscillator analog synthesizer called the Norand Mono, which has internal modulation for every parameter. And now they've taken that philosophy and brought it to Eurorack with, quite frankly, stunning results. This thing is fun as hell. Norand has provided the unit. This is a pre-production unit, so there is going to be some a little weirdness with some of the feedback of the LEDs, but otherwise, everything I'm about to show you is exactly what it can do, and maybe more with firmware updates. I don't know. They keep on updating the mono. So let's dive into it and see what makes this bad boy tick. 2 oscillators. We have one that can track from the other one. We have a hard tune right here, which is 1 semitone increments, and then a fine tune, which is, I think, a full range of 2 semitones. We have a fully morphable wave shape from sine wave to square. We have through 0 FM modulation. Internally, it's normal to the other oscillators, which is really, really cool, though there is an input for FM. Then we have the modulation section. So each one of these corresponds to one of the settings here. You can see the LED changing state as I change to it. And there are 3 ways. Let me see, 3 ways? Yeah, 3 ways that these can work. In white mode, they are attenuverters, meaning if I turn this up, the incoming modulation will come through. And if I turn it down all the way, it'll go negative. If I have it at 0, it will not come through. The second mode is an internal LFO with multiple shapes, and it can go up to audio rate, which is awesome. So that's the second way that you can modulate stuff. And then one of my favorites is this one, which is a ping envelope. So now if you send a gate into here, this becomes the amount and this becomes the rate of the envelope. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But first, let's get a sense of how this thing sounds. There's going to be a lot to this video, so make sure that you check the chapter markers if you want to jump around and check out specific features. All right, so let's start off with a simple sequence on oscillator 2 here, this one. All right, so as we said, we can tune it. We can change its wave continually. And then the through 0 modulation. Love that. Cool. Next, let's get some modulation going to the attenuverter section. So I have, what's it called? The Acid Rain Maestro down here. So the Acid Rain Maestro is sending out, let's see, it looks like a upward ramp on every half bar. So now I can come in here, choose a selection, and start turning it up. So that's the wave. And we can go backwards too. I really like doing this to the through 0. This thing is like making me really love analog oscillators again. It's just so like, I've been avoiding complex oscillators because of the space they take up and what you need to get them to really be cool. But this one, since it has the internal modulation and the morphing, which we will get into, is a bit of a beast. Let's go to our first channel and make another sequence. You can hear the through 0 modulation is now changing because the 2 are normal to each other. So I have this running through blades. It's got a little bit of the distortion on there, but right now we're not hearing any of the filter. Let's get the second one here, messing around. And I'm going to change the modulation going to it from Maestro. All right, let's give the modulation going into the wave and through 0 FM over here a bit of variety. Now you can hear that movement from Maestro. And we are already getting really, really cool tones. You can see the wave shapes flying all over the place on our data here. It's just this really cool, growly. It sounds really, really good. So there's a preset system in here, and you can morph through the presets by either touching these strips up here or sending it CV. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you morphing with just what we have set up here in terms of changing attenuversion and wave shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and delete these presets that I made. And we're going to reset our little friend to 0 here, at least in terms of modulation, and save that to this one right here. So let's go ahead and do that. So change these to sine. Make sure these are at 0. Make sure that this is at 0, and this is at 0, and then that this is at 0. And there. Now we have 2 pure sines. Save. Save, save. Now I'll move this up to this. Save, save. And then let's make this one a triangle and this one a saw. And we'll start adding some modulation. And then for our last one, now all of those are available to us here. That's enough out of you. But the real fun happens when we start modulating these with CV. So I have a few things we're going to modulate with. We're going to take the first 2 outputs of our tetrapad down here, which has LFO mode on, and I'm going to put them into the X. You can immediately see that we got some, response from the LEDs, because now they're looking at the incoming CV to decide which preset they're going to use here. So let's go to our thing and make sure that we are, we got a good LFO going on here. Let's get in play and listen to these morph around. Pretty damn cool, right? Take this out and let's go on to the LFO mode. Before that, though, let's go listen to another little jam. So I will go over to, the next layer. There are actually, I'm going to do this first. I'm going to make sure that we are on our basic preset. So we're going to hit layer, and now we are in blue layer. So there's 3 layers per bank, I guess, and each layer can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 presets. So there's an insane amount of morphing you can do, and you can actually morph through all the layers in like really kind of interesting ways, which we will eventually get to. So I'm going to have to delete. That's not the delete button. This is the delete button. So you can hear that we are back at our sine wave. So let's go and just dive right into it. Let's use LFOs on our waves. So start with this one. this one. Saved. For the next one, we will turn this one down. Turn this back to here and do this to our 30 FM. For the next one, we will go to our D tune, this one, and let's use an audio rate modulator on there. A little bit of audio rate modulation on our 30 FM. That's right, you can actually lock the frequencies to a preset too. So let's now get this into X again and listen to what happens when we morph through this. Pretty fun, right? So we will go ahead and leave these here for right now. I'm going to go back to our first layer, this one, and we're going to hit the buttons that return us to the original preset. Go ahead and turn our effects down. Now, one of my favorite things here is the ping envelope one. So we'll put ping envelopes here on green. And before that, though, let's go listen to another little jam. So one thing to keep in mind, even though this thing has amazing recall and you can switch between all these things, the input need for the ping envelopes is going to be a gate or a trigger as opposed to continuous modulation. So we need to come over here and we're going to load a different Maestro preset and turn this into a series of gates, which you can do with the square function here. So let me do that. I'll just go ahead and program something here real quick. 8th, 8th, 16th, 16th. A quarter, 8th, 16th. And those will send out gates now. All right, so let's get a sequence going on here. Something just really wonderful about pure analog waves through a good filter. All right, let's turn these all to green mode, except for 1 volt per octave. And I'll show you the trick for that in just a second. All right, let's start turning some stuff up. Let's start with our wave. Hear that rhythm? This works amazing on some ambient shit. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with this, where you can install a rhythm on top of a non-rhythmic sequence. So we'll go ahead and track this. Save it to our first one here. Awesome. Next one, what are we gonna do? How about some through zero? Hell yes. Freaking weird those waveforms are. I love it. So we do have a pitch sequence going through here right now, which is great. We get that cool like electro, sequence sound. However, in order to get this to apply the kind of pitch drop effect that I want to give this a percussive sound, we're going to have to switch the input for our 1 volt per octaves. And we can do that with this little WMD select thing down here. It's going to pick between 2 different inputs. One of those inputs is our 1 volt per octave sequence, and the other one are gates coming from Pamela's new workout. It's hard not to just want to get nasty with it. Here we go. Some more resonance on our filter. Absolutely disgusting. So those are the 3 modes that you can set these to internally modulate the oscillator itself, and it is wild as hell and super cool. I'm going to now show you 3-dimensional morphing. We have a joystick. It's going to be rad. But before that, a word from our sponsor. Open a door to musical adventure at Patchworks, Seattle synthesizer store. You can touch all these things. They want to be touched. Come and touch them. Come and touch that. Come and touch this. You can touch a t-shirt. You can touch a book. You can touch everything you see here. In fact, you can touch the staff. They like to be touched. In the brain. That's where the synthesizer knowledge lives. See that cable? That's knowledge. See that speaker? That's knowledge. All of this knowledge they want to share with you. There's the mind phones going on. That's knowledge in the brain. Patchworks.com is not messing around. Patchworks is Seattle synthesizer store on Stone Way, or also at patchworks.com. All right, we're back. And as promised, we got a joystick, baby. One of the things that they mention in the manual for this is that it's fun to use hands-on things to morph through this stuff, and it is absolutely true that is the case. So up till now, we've been using the X input for modulation, morphing, which means we're going to go through this row here. And I've set up a 3-layer deep patch here that we're going to eventually go all the way through. Remember, we have 3 different layers. 3 different layers. All right, so let's hear what X sounds like here. So that's what X is doing. One of the layers is using the internal LFOs, and then the other layer is using Maestro's LFOs and modulation. So we need to get all this stuff in. What I'm going to do now is plug the, oh my gosh, cables. I'm going to plug the other vector of our joystick here into the Y input of our Morphos. And now we will morph through layers as well, if that's how I remember it correctly. So let's go ahead and play. And I will now play a note, and I will then morph. It's going to sound pretty wild. By the way, I am duplicating the gate out of the one that's feeding the first oscillator here, and I have the second oscillator tracked to it. So we're hearing both oscillators together now, which is going to give us a massive sound. Joysticks are all fun, LFOs are fun, but one thing you might be interested in is, can we step modulate through this? And oh boy, yes we can. So now that's morphing every bar. There's every eighth note. If you take out one of these and go back to your normal layer here, this is going to sound different. So there's a lot of really cool ways to move through these continuously, smoothly. And since there's so much variety to what can happen inside the module, it's really a playground. And that's one of the things that I think is very cool about it, is it really has reignited my interest in analog complex oscillators in a way that I didn't think was going to happen. And that is due in great part to the fact that within this little friend is so much modulation, you know? Like, it is a self-contained playground. Friends, thanks so much for watching. I hope this was fun for you. It was pretty fun for me. This thing, I hope you can hear, is kind of wild. Check the video description for all kinds of fun stuff. Wow, that's a terrible sound, isn't it? Check the video description for all kinds of links to everything you see in this video, including these wonderful glowy cables from Patchworks. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Jeremy. This is Run Music Recording, the only white guy with a beard doing synthesizer videos on YouTube, and I hope you have a wonderful day.